Peace. Be in the game. Alright, let me turn around, take the dog. The sun's coming out, so it'll be a little chill for a knocker. It was cloudy up not too long ago, so we got the sun out. Alright. Blessed, I'm thankful about that. Grateful. We can see the mountain up there. Let me show y'all real fast before I start. That's a mound up there, y'all. That's a mound. That's two of them. Two big ass mounds, man. All the way in the middle of the Pacific. Oh, the sun does. Alright, we're here. Let's go ahead and get it. Yo, I'm addressing, we talking to the family, man. Or we talking to the African diaspora. You know, because a lot of Africans don't know and understand that there's niggas that's in the world in other places, and that everybody did not come from, you know, the place of what we call Africa. Though it's a lot of niggas in Africa, but all the niggas ain't come from there. Well, there's a lot of black folks in the general, okay? They don't call each other nigga over there. We call each other nigga where we at. You know, it's been proven. We've been in America for a long time. It was already there before Columbus, right? So we got to get that straight, because I see a lot of the African videos and want to be, you know, supportive and, you know, tag along with the struggle. They don't really know the struggle that we had, you know. They kind of look at us and we kind of make the struggle seem, you know, fun and energetic and shit, you know, and happy, go lucky type stuff. But in real life, man, we dealing with our psychopathic tendencies and traits our own self to kind of hide the pain, to smile to keep them from crying type stuff, man. Tupac told you, he a knocker, man. All right, check my back, make sure my thing coming up in my eyes. You see it not being recorded. You know, they'll come up. So anyhow, though, man, just addressing the fam, man. It's important for everyone to know and understand that the delineation. We're not talking about just foundational black. We're talking about the real deal American, the Choctaw. We're talking about an American Choctaw, which is myself. I'm a Choctaw. When they ask where a nigga from, you from one of them damn tribes, big dog. We already had the shit popping. Streets laid down, buildings built, water running under the grounds. Yeah, we already had it popping, big dogs. We already had it. Fields of food, all that, man. Farms and shit, had whole areas dedicated to farming, man. We already had dedicated states to whole farming, man. We're the true Americans. So that's where everybody's gonna have to get this into their head, that we didn't come from Africa. We have to say it like that. You know, even though there's a lot of black folks in Africa, I can understand how they see that, okay, damn, there's so many niggas, you know, so many black folks in Africa, that you must have came from there or evolved from there a long time ago. There's a man that's responsible, that's basically a brother who is responsible for saying that black folks left Africa and went up to Europe and lost the pigmentation and all that stuff, and everybody believed that shit. That is not the case. Most High already had everybody in they do different areas, P. Peace. Yo, peace, Tim. What's going on? We out here. Most High had everybody in their different areas. It's a bright day. I want to show y'all something real fast. You don't really see this. This is a rare sight, too, because the clouds be covering it up. Those are mounds right there. I went up to the top of the hill, up to the mountain. Hey, what's happening, Jessica? I went up there. You seen there's nothing but mounds, man, at the top of Hawaii, y'all. That's one mound right there. It's another mound, and they guarding it, too. People sleep up there or try to guard it or whatever. I say, nah, we're going to have to go up there ourselves and guard it. We got to go up there with our energy. You know what I'm saying? And it's tight up there too, boy. But anyhow, though, that's how we know we get these downloads real quick, so I can get them to us, because we got ancestors in the mounds, dog. That's why they be like, man, how this dude could be happy strutting through here. But you know, most I giving the, you know, the downloads. You know what I mean? We dealing in, we being grateful and thankful. You know, definitely paying the tides, which is, you know, the Kundalini getting the light to the crown chakra, becoming a nigga, a knocker, which we truly are. That's why we are niggas and shit, the kings, and getting your kingdom lit. So anyhow, though, we had to clear this up, man, because I like a lot of that they're talking on, but it's like, you know what, y'all keep squeezing us. They keep squeezing us in there like we came from there, and it's like, nah, man, we had streets laid, pavements, bricks laid on the ground, G, buggies, horses, rodeos, nigga. We had rodeos. Where do you think these white folks get the rodeos from? They seen us doing this shit. We was eating oxtails and all that shit, man. We had big ass bulls and shit. It's in our blood, man. And each state we had was we already came together for a union. but we were attacked by a multitude of nations, man, on all sides. It took hundreds of years to get us, man. It wasn't like we came from there. Only like a 3% came from over there, man. It wasn't that many, dog. You know what I'm saying? We was already popping with buildings and castles and shit. You know, already had agriculture going all the way down, man. We already knew the mapping of the stars and the skies, everything, P. It's just that they forgot. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Jessica Butter. I gotta say, Butner, pardon me. I say it like that. All right. So we already had it cracking. And that's where y'all gotta look at it. We're the actual American. Like, when everybody else came later, we taught everybody else. You know what I'm saying? When the Siberian came, even if he wasn't Asian or not, we taught him how to farm. We gave him an area where he can be and be in peace, and taught him about the all spirit. In order to be in our land, you got to know about the all spirit. We ain't got false gods coming in. This is what we chopping it up with the Moors now, because the Moors come in with the Roman Catholics and Islam. See, that's false god shit. That ain't us. We ain't got nothing to do with that. And so they came and we accepted it as a form of peace because we was in captivity, man. We needed something to get our asses out of somewhere. They came with the false god Luamon, the false Christ. All that shit came from the Moors. The Moors keep trying to tie themselves into our inheritance, our natural inheritance, because they know we're going to be given our natural birthright, our given birthright from the Creator. And it ain't gonna be, no man can do it. The Most High is doing it. So we don't know if this is real Moors coming on Instagram talking like, yo, why are you letting out the Moors? And I like certain brothers' videos and shit, but it's like, no, unless you from over there, get over there straight. You know what I'm saying? We gotta work on what we got over here. We ain't trying to go over there. So we must, I'm talking about over here, I'm speaking into the mainland and shit. Because I'm not over in the mainland and shit, but still, they feel like that out here too with foreigners. Hey, what's happening? PJ, what's going on? You know, so we're at a point, you know, of course, we're discovering what it is now. We're pinpointing everything. We're seeing that we got agents in our communities. We had, you know, our things been infiltrated. You know, we weren't strong in our kundalini, in our light, on our kingdom. We was in a lower form of existence, basically, like in the Bronze Age. And so they just came in, put the Iron Age up, put the buildings up and all that stuff, and knocked down our buildings and put the Iron Age up. After the Iron Age becomes the Golden Age. But anyhow, though, we was already living in a certain form of fashion. You know what I'm saying? Even through being prisoners of war and just dealing in society, we created lotteries. How to make us all eat. We created lottery numbers and shit, running numbers. They was mad and niggas was running numbers because they wanted it to be that we couldn't eat nothing. Not no food, have no business, not nothing. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't understand. We live directly up under individuals that, you know, had nothing but idolize and divide and discard mechanisms over and over and over to us in a cycle of toxicity. So we had to wake up and get about that shit because there was a narcissistic personality disorder that was training us to be able to be in this narcissistic Stockholm syndrome loop. Every time we break away, they bring us back. And then they found a way to just get us we the people, our shit. That's our shit. We the people. We already had a whole shit popping, G. We already knew how to deal in equality. So we the people, they took in and infiltrated. I gotta look because I'm attracting mugs and shit. Because I'm talking about we the people. And I'm like, oh, what the hell is this motherfucker talking about? You know what I'm saying? But we already had it. So it's like, we really have to take that power back in our hands as far as like the original, the true Americans in America. That's us. The 5 civilized tribes, that was us. But, you know, they infiltrated and they got some of our brothers to turn their backs against us. And that's kind of what happens, you know, when you're dealing with a high level of society, a high civilization. They didn't even know we're ruling the whole world. That's what the Africans didn't understand. Like, nigga, our shit, we're the empire of the world, G, but we were infiltrated. You know, and the Bible tells us a lot of that story because, you know, that gets even more deeper when you're dealing with, you know, King James and all them coming to America in 1600, getting the libraries and destroying them. Then you get the book of Waspi coming around displaying the heavens of the world, you know what I'm saying, mortals, and how Gautama, which is America's, is basically it's going to be ran through by all the different cultures, nationalities of the world, but it's going to give it to the end to the copper-colored red man race. That's how it says, you know. And that's what the Waspi talking about. And like I say, we don't really can't. And the Waspi even tell you don't believe everything that come out of this book. Because they know already they're going to infiltrate the book too. You know? So they already know what's up. They already went into our libraries. They burnt the libraries up. They burnt up 17,000 buildings in Chicago alone during the Chicago fires after the damn you know, after the world fairs. See, we was already, I'm going and all that, bringing it up, you know, to the conscious, but I was already on this, chopping it up about this on my old channel that they banned me on this shit. Like everybody caught up. This is 2015, 2014, 2016 and shit, you know what I'm saying? So now we're all caught up. I was doing already the videos about the Tatari structure, the Mason symbols on the buildings, castles and shit. They picking up buildings, whole buildings out of the ground in Minnesota and transporting them to another area, you know? That was our shit. So the Africans, you have to understand that we just because we talk to you in a friendly way, we know how to deal equal with you, don't mean that we're truly all really the same. We're at a different level of thinking. We get inspired differently. We get inspired from the ether, really, just like how these buildings was getting the energy from the ether and powering the whole city and shit. We, as niggas, get energy from the ether and inspiration from the ether, which is the all spirit, and gain and bring up, you know, creations and inventions and shit. That you can see that a lot of niggas invented a lot of things, and we would have been continuously to invent more things and made life more comfortable, but you know, the powers that were came into the game and, you know, took the inventions and made and harvested for themselves and harbored the shit for themselves, basically. And when you got a billionaire, man, the billionaires are they're a little bit more worse than millionaires. You know, a lot more actually, because you got hundreds of millions of dollars, man. You got at least $900 million. So a billionaire, the way that motherfucker thinking, I see him all the time out here. Because, you know, but we're in this type of environment, so I'm automatically in my spiritual billionaire status, and that's what they see. They're like, damn, they kind of figuring out, like, nigga, we already made it to the spot. Hey, see, I see what you're doing. We out here chilling, you know what I mean? But I can sit out in the sun and get the inspiration and get the downloads from the UVs and shit. And they kind of hate that, but that's what niggas do. We're natural crystals. They try to tell us that they put that agent shit out, that we 666, you know, getting us to believe these things. These are false Christs and false gods. These Moors that came into the game trying to get us to believe this shit, these false Moors, you know, there's only a few of them motherfuckers left, really. They wouldn't be at least leaking that little information out. But they know that we got the information in our genetic codes, in our cells. So we don't have to really read a book too tough, because the book is in us. So we're letting you know, like, nigga, we already is gonna be created. No matter how you separate us apart, we're always gonna make a hive, because we're connected to the Most High. No matter where you put us at in the world, G, we're naturally creative and connected. And then everywhere in the world shows that we already been around. The world, even in Angkor Wat. What I'm gonna do is jump some on Angkor Wat, pointing over there and shit. Where it's at that way and shit. We over there. But Angkor Wat, just dealing with the Wats, dealing with it's one of the biggest, largest, they call it religious structures, but it's temples in the world. And they got mountains made out of niggas' faces and shit. From America. Like, you know how niggas got that smirk, like, it's the mountains doing that. I did a video on that on the channel a long time ago, and if I was stuck to it, that channel would have been pretty huge, but it got thousands of views right away and shit, breaking down Black Buddha, you know? And so that's what, they know that that's what we is. And Buddha is Gautama is America. And that's what it's all about. All that came from where we from, you know? So when you got around the world, they just use the religions and shit and as a tool to manipulate the lesser evolved spiritual people, mortals in the world. So the false gods in Africa and shit, you know, some of their ancestors that living on the first resurrections and stuff like that, granting these people, you know, doing spirit work, you know, doing, you know, just say curses and all that shit. They can't really do it on too many Nagas if you know, because you're one of the chosen people. So all you gotta do is continue to pay your tithes to get your kundalini up right. But they do this shit every day, G. These spirits want to be praised and fucking immortalized damn near every day. Put the offering up, do this, do that. You know what I'm saying? The spirit's doing everything but telling your ass to get to the all highs. You know what I'm saying? Get to the all spirit. For every day of your life, you should be striving to better yourself. It's not about bribing and conniving and shit. That's why they separate from us by a big ass ocean. All that bribing and conniving and shit. But Most High strengthened us because he exposed us to this cluster B personality disorder. It's okay to be histrionic. When you have a histrionic disorder, that's when you fucked up. You be psychopathic, but when you have a psychopathic disorder, you're fucked up. Narcissistic disorder, you're gonna be narcissistic. You can tell people they're healed when they're healed, but when they're disordered, you know, I can't fuck with you no more. And niggas got to that point where you can't, it's like, how did y'all figure that out? It's like, y'all ain't slick. We got the slickest niggas with us. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, when a brother or somebody tell you that they from Mississippi, they from Alabama, you know what I'm saying? That's where they from, G. That's where it's at. That's the oldest motherfucker. They say they from Louisiana. That's where they from, G. Baton Rouge, them was new names and shit. You know what I'm saying, by the way. It's when the French came through and the other motherfuckers came through and naming the areas, man. But when they say they from there, that's where they from. Since the beginning of time, G. Since the beginning. You have to attack you have to take over the biggest, largest empire in the world in order to control everybody else. And you ain't gonna do that. You can't control everybody else and then come after the biggest empire. Like, no, y'all gotta have the balls to come after the big one. We the big boys. You know what I mean? We taught these motherfuckers. We taught everybody else. And I'm not saying that from an egotistical point, because we had to take the ego out of it. Now we got to see that, yo, man, bros is big bros, man. We big bros, man. We're gonna automatically create something new at least every 11 years to go with the cycle of the sun. Within those times, new music, new sounds, new vibrations. We never come from Africa and come to another land and create a new sound, a new music. You ain't never get to you ain't never do that shit. You ain't never do that shit. The most civilized motherfuckers over there were the Moors. They were in Europa, and them niggas had some type of, personality disorder. They kind of hated on us a little bit. So they kind of turning y'all against, or Africans against us. It's like, hold up, nigga, hold up. Because that, you got to understand, the Moors run Africa any goddamn way. They in North Africa. They run all them niggas. They run everybody down there. When the shit was allowed with the Congo, with 22 million Africans were murdered by a so-called Caucasian man or a grafted man or a clone, whatever you want to call them, they was allowed to build up that false heavenly kingdom like that with 22 million motherfuckers, man. That's how you build a false heavenly kingdom up. These false gods, man. They want to be praised and shit. And so when these mothers in spirit form, they're distressed and distraught and shit. They'll do anything. They're mad. They become drooges. They become disoriented. They don't have a structure in the heavens like how we do in Gautama or in the mainland. Most High shining on us, man. We got structure in our heavens. And they try to cause disorder in our heavens by allowing immigrants to bring their familiar spirits with them. That's why shit's going on. It may seem like it's uncivil and shit, you know what I'm saying? We don't want nothing to happen to anybody you don't like bad shit happen, especially on our land. Blood getting spilled on the soil, you know what I'm saying? But when you're dealing with narcissistic entities, man, that don't respect gifts and shit, some of them most of the world are friends with our so-called oppressor. They don't see it from our point of view. They can't even imagine 400 years of certain things. We're trying to tell you, get the book. There's a book that's out there that says all this shit, nigga, that this happened. You can see the pictures. We didn't take the pictures. That's how you know, like, niggas didn't even take the pictures, man. So you got to look at that. You got to do the knowledge. Knowledge is the foundation. That's what borns equality, and wisdom is a way to the understanding. You got to do the knowledge for yourself. That's what we use. We use knowledge first. Then we be wise to what we're figuring out, because yeah, it was a big war. Of course, they made us forget a lot of shit. You know what I mean? Of course they did, but that remembrance is coming back. Most High putting the hand up over America right now. All that shit is like, hey, please, man. That's the beat. Yeah. So put the hand up over America right now. We Chickasaw, all that. Yamasees, man, we all that. We gonna tell them the tribe. And since they want to hear the tribe, yeah, we rock the feather. We always been rocking the feather, whether it's in the hat or not. We got Hawaii on top of the hat. They know. They don't never want to say Hawaii. Shit. Afraid of that name. They even afraid of Allah, because let's go back to the false gods that the Moors come on with the false god Luamang and you know what I'm saying, and the false Christ and Jabril dealing with Islam and shit. By the time my shit, everybody around, I'm feeling they real stuff. But I'm by the water though, so we should be good. And I got the crystals around and shit. So false god, the Moors come with that, man. We're not responsible for Christianity. That's the false Christ Luamang. That's Roman Catholic shit. That's them niggas, man. We ain't come up with Islam. That's Jabril and the Mohammedans. That's they shit. That's not ours. That's the Moors. So this is why we don't squeeze y'all into our shit, because y'all come up with the false gods, B, and we're stopping it right there. That's it. We ain't accepting your shit. We're gonna refine on our own. We know you got custody personality. We know you trying to rule us, and you ain't even focused on ruling yourself and shit. You allowed all the bullshit to come into the world. You allowed all this, everything, all this shit that we ain't had nothing to do with. McDonald's ain't got nothing to do with us. That's a Moor name. Mick ain't got shit to do with us. You know what I'm saying? So you did it on our land, G. And we know you ain't gonna repent. You should be trying to, the Moors should be trying to repent with all them goddamn religions they came up with, man. And they look how they spawn off. They little straw man made up all the other religions and shit. Now we got the our ancestors clean up all the heavens and shit on our land, getting all that shit together, getting these motherfuckers up out of there, man. Ain't none of that shit gonna ride in our heavens. Ain't none of it. I'm saying, you know, shit, it ain't gonna ride. So that's what it is. And all that's why everybody gonna take their shit back to their shit, to go back to, gonna take it back to their land when it comes to that. And I know it seems fucked up, but you know, we've been lenient, we've been kind. You know, we've been kind to a point where we was nice, which is naive. We still smiling. We kind of had the Mr. Tenderism syndrome and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hold up, man. I mean, the tenderism, that's on him. You know, when the narcissism, and that's on that situation. But to not develop Stockholm syndrome is very serious and very important right now for us to stand 10 toes down when it comes to the shit in the etheric realm and shit with our people. And you know, the islands, they're gonna go to the Most High and the butterfly and all that. You know what I'm saying? The islands, they're gonna get down with us because we was all together anyways. But it's the ones across the way. Even though the islands, they just on the islands. I know how islander feel. You know what I'm saying? Islanders are the same all over the world. They're on the island. They have this about them, this little fire thing, because they've got some kind of volcano shit around too. I know there's a difference, but yeah, man, Most High shining on us, man. You know what's up, P. And it's not wrong. Don't feel bad with breaking up with people. You know what I mean? We done glorified these people a lot. We wore the African medallions and shit. We did everything. Muhammad Ali came over there talking about we the same, nigga. We fighting. Nobody didn't reach out, man. So it's like, and if they did, they reached out to one of the false prophets people, which was like the NOI Farrakhan. They ain't gonna give them that money, man. Most I ain't gonna let that shit happen, nigga. You out here, you promoting the false prophet, a new age false prophet too. Not even Noble Dry Ali. You for fraud Muhammad, nigga. Making businesses in they shit. Now you don't ask them that. We ain't got time for that, man. If we gods, then we done make our own cream on the planet Earth, follow civilization, God of the universe. That's where we gotta be then. We ain't got time to be playing around, standing on corners wearing bow ties and shit, big dog. We gotta have farms and motherfucking birthing centers and our own motherfucking shit. That's it, nigga. We ain't got no time. You gotta, first you be able to do that, you gotta watch out for the devils on the inside of you. Kill them 4 devils first. And the 4 religions, they dying right now on the outside. Our ancestors getting them out the way right now, G. Cause what we got, Mormon and shit. They over in Utah right now. Them niggas, that false angel, what's his name? I think what's they call him? His name is Piat or something like that. That shit finna be done. You know what I'm saying? They all got some of our science talking about galaxies and universes and shit like that. And then they mix in the Copernicus model a little bit while trying to break down, you know, the science of the world being spread out like a carpet also. But they don't break it down all the way, you know what I'm saying? They still try to keep us in that Copernicus model. You know, but anyhow, I'm gonna sum this up. I know I got people around. I gotta look around, see a motherfucker trying to make his way. Look at this dude. I'm gonna check this out. You know, on his way and shit. Okay, yeah, turn around. All right, hold up. Don't need that right now. I got gang stalking all day today since I got up. I had to be a little few steps ahead. So, anyways, I was just like, you know, you can't leave, man. That's crazy. So basically, what we're building about, man, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it like that. Had to play it out. Ain't in my face, man. What it is they see an American nigga, they see a real nigga, which is the Kundalini. You know what I'm saying? Not just a nigga like just a nigga. Niggas is a high on their Kundalini. That's why we're so creative and shit, G. We got baby geniuses, nigga. I mean, like child stars. You know, only reason why the Caucasians got child stars because they've been up on us and they kind of got some of our genes from our, you know, us being born in the hospices and shit like that and getting some of our blood. And, you know, they mixing in, they doing spices and shit like that. But most I said that shit ain't gonna even last anyways, only before a short season in their genealogy. So, you know, that's on that note. But yeah, but with the Moors and the false gods, for those still in the game, you know, that's dealing with, you know, Noble Drew Ali and all them. He didn't even reveal as much of the shit that we learned today, dealing with the UCC Financial One statement and how to file them and pull them in the county clerk of deeds. Basically, you got to go everywhere you go in any state, you got to put them in the county clerk of deeds. Nobody never told us that, but that's just free game right there. You know what I'm saying? So wherever you go, man, you better go straight to the county clerk of deeds and be like, yo, this is my status, this is who I am. So when the motherfucker pull you over, they know beforehand, this is who you is. Even if they run your plate and shit, even even if you use your plate for, you know, business, with Uber being around nowadays, Uber is a business and shit. So now they know you're gonna use your car as a business because they know you would have did it, you was doing it before. And I need $5. Yeah, wherever you need to go, I need $5. That's when the tank can be filled up with $5 and shit. So you got like 10 motherfuckers, then you go somewhere for $5, and you can fill your whole tank up for $5 to $12, man. It's like, nigga, this nigga making some money. Say we're gonna charge this nigga, got a license plate, now we gotta get a tab on this motherfucker too. You know, that's all because of us, or being our ingeniousness of ways of making money and shit. When we had no way to make no money. So when they put drugs in our shit, you know what I'm saying? This forced our children to be psychopathically, you know, not having no empathy when it came to selling dope to the fiends. The fiends were like borderline empathic, but it was, you know, they were the sacrifice as far as at that time for the young ones to learn, because I'm the young one at that time. A lot of us didn't make it to this time to talk like this, dude. You know what I mean? A lot of niggas when all the niggas went under jail, prison, feds, or whatever, man. You know, they'll let you, most I'll let you run your shit up too, you know what I'm saying? Until karma come back on you too, man. You know what I mean? You succumb to things, you know? But we learn these lessons to be able to talk about them now. But like I say, man, to give them back all that shit, the only thing we really kept and that was beneficial to us is pretty much it was the father who gave us the mathematics. And those who don't know about the mathematics, supreme mathematics is the father, which is the 5%ers, which was just basically a name that was taken off of the NOI just through the lessons of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, as they call him, Honorable Elijah Muhammad, you know what I'm saying, which is, you know, dealing with the 120. But the father basically born the mathematics and the supreme alphabet. It wasn't like the rest of the lessons came along with it. It just, some people fell victim to that, became 85% of someone who left them behind, you know, mentally and spiritually and shit, you know what I'm saying, as far as like knowing the origin of what's going on and being able to see clearly with the third eye. They became 85% within the 5%, still following some type of mystery god, like the Farad Muhammad and shit, and the mothership. Everybody knew about the mothership because it spoke about, everybody who had an elite status knew about the mothership, dealing with, you know, the high elite Masons, because there was a book called the OFFGRID that already came out like 1848 or some shit, or 1891, whichever it was. It predated Islam in America, so it was already out talking about motherships, planes and shit, galaxies, worlds, you know, exist. We ain't hitting, boy. It says still mixing together, mate. We will absorb your skin. Peace, bro. I appreciate it. This is my brother. That's my bro from New Zealand. They know who we are, and that's what they can't leave. That's why they can't leave us alone, big dog. And then, because it's the truth. It's like a narcissist can't leave their best supply source alone. You know what I mean? We're like the world's best supply source, and we know that. But it's like, we know, and we gotta show. We're showing them that, man, we're kind. Really, we're not. Do you understand? We're not. Now, I'm not saying this like to y'all. Like, do you understand? But we're just saying, like, don't you understand that? You know, we could have been snapped on you. You know what I mean? We don't even snap on anybody outside our culture. We'll snap on us first before we snap on anybody, you know? But yeah, but just coming up and breaking it down psychologically in the hoods, you know, as far as like selling dope and drugs and shit, the fiends were like people moms and shit that we know, you know? And it's like, you have to be damn heartless or just don't respect the fact that, man, you left your kids at home and da-da-da-da. As a young person coming up and your knowledge with your teens, your knowledge years and shit, your early teens, you're just knowing and understanding little things. You're not wise to it. You're just like, damn, I can't believe you leave your kids at home. Here you go, take that. You know what I'm saying? You ain't that. In your own heart, you would kind of think this, you know, but we grew from this. Now we're able to pinpoint what it is. We even though we didn't use nothing to benefit off of it, you know, to build something, but we built it in the spirit now. Now we see we're more equipped to know, you know, somebody who's been harmed, or if we got an abuser or a predator, or someone who's like slick predator, a covert narcissist, or a covert sociopath, or an overt sociopath. You know, someone you can know that's obviously that needs people. And you would take, and a sociopath would take care of whoever they see as their supply. Like a sociopath, whatever you need, I got you. I take care of that. That's sociopath. That's in the hood all day. You know what I mean? But when we're dealing with a worldly thing, you know, that's dealing with, you know, I jumped all over the place when I got back to the mathematics. Basically, the cream of the crop is the mathematics. And the 10% I got back to the 10%. The 10% was the bloodsuckers of the poor, basically. And within the 5%, there is a 10%. And that's why I was breaking down, because it was the ones who were like, you know, hey, brother. There was the ones who were like, you know, basically kind of sold hip-hop, you know, and kind of, you know, gave up a new culture that we made up and got this money for it. We didn't have no say up in that shit. And if that case, we would have saved, they would have saved the school of Allah at that time, but we didn't really need that at that time, you know what I mean? Even though a lot of us were still, we still have faith in the all spirit, you know, we didn't want to, that's why we only agreed to the all as Allah is like the all, you know what I mean? Not like just one person and you God only and shit. Like, no, you're just the title, that's who you is, you know what I mean? Peace. It's an Orban, Abian, hope I said it right. Again. So, you know, basically, they want to get off. Damn, I almost got off of that a little bit. They sent it in. I'm going to jump right back home. Let me get a sip of this little water real fast. I got a breath from the sea from the Pacific looking at it. And they ain't never seen an NAGA either, so I'm representing for us. If they been fed the false narrative too out here, like, yo, niggas lazy and this and the third, no, they know niggas ain't lazy. They see me in their face, walking right around. They're like, damn. So they ain't got nothing to do but to respect my families. That's who we is. We're actually loving people and shit. And so I was gonna break, man, I'll be skipping all over, but dealing with the 5%, the 10%, and the 85%. Boom. So the 10% within that 80, within the whole little 5% thing. Here's my fake me out. I gotta keep these on. They was bloodsuckers of the poor. They kind of like sold the hip hop. So when hip hop became the way it is, they kind of responsible for it, because when the West Coast came in the game, even though they was telling their story, it was still like, I think I remember you. They was telling their story of where they came from, how like, you know, like, damn, the drugs is like this, and Muzz is over here, and Muzz is doing that, and it's like, damn. And nobody really saved the school. The school is really little out in New York. It was the school of Allah. That's what I was on. It's real little. And people was taking donations and covenant. You hearing all the stories, and so people weren't 100 with it and shit. You know, so, you know, we didn't really evolve it. But where I'm from, where I was at, we had an area we called, it was the 7th region, but we didn't have it like a gang thing. But our place was called Master Now. My place was Master Now, which is Minnesota, which is all the shit going on that you see in the world right now. The judgment's happening on that land and shit, you know. And according to all the shit that went down with the gods and earths up there, that's at the top of the Mount Nile of the West. And so, basically, you know, nobody never did. So they became the 10%, you know. And the true 5% of the 5%ers are the ones who just naturally just want to teach, who are just naturally poor, righteous teachers who just living accordingly to life and just, you know, eating right and exact. You know what I'm saying? Yes, we are forgiven and loving. That's right, bro. You know what I mean? And that's a good thing. We ain't gonna lose that. And that's a good thing that we didn't lose that, because a lot of us personally, individually, Most High put us through them things, through experiences personally, so we can actually deal with individuals in our life family personally too, and as a whole. Because everybody's starting to see, like, we are really spiritual and soulful and connecting and, you know, loving and fun and kind, and be like, damn, why y'all hold the financial gains from niggas, even though they didn't even want no grants. They wanted to make it from scratch. You still didn't want them to make it from scratch. You know what I'm saying? We couldn't even get grants. They act like we want handouts and shit. Like, it's like that. We said the reparations, but it's like, hold up, man. But we'll work for our shit. Just leave us the fuck alone. Don't come into our neighborhood. You got to come to our shit. So that's when we're like, damn, we didn't even get a chance to create a new form of clothing no more. You know, we had the best form of clothing, the Victoria dress. Man, we dressed down with threads, with individual threading, like, you know, the angels taught, our ancestors taught us this. We got a whole everything put together on our land. We got the heavens where we learned, the pilots learn shit, the drivers learn shit, we carpenters learn, you know, man, we continue that on to the spirit realm, to our highest vibrational light. We already were doing. That's why they're afraid of the Etherians. They keep calling us Etherians, and we keep sliding into Anunnakis and stuff like that. And Anunnaki kind of sound like Anuhasaj, which was according to the Owaspy, was a false god, who was one of the first one, was basically the first powerful one, who came with all of his other minor lord gods, he gave them little areas on the earth and shit, except Gautama. But he had Baal, Astaroth, you know, all them niggas, man, the first ones. And then they were all warring against each other when they came and warred. Oh, this is on the other side of the world. This ain't on our shit. This is in in Hellas or Asia and shit, you know what I'm saying? That China over there, that India over there, which is Vindu. They call it Vindu in the Owaspy, or Hindustan in real life or whatever, you know what I'm saying? That's they stuff, man. We was already over in our shit, man. We pick streets paved with gold and eating real good, nigga. I'm talking about real good, nigga. Hold on, love you, you know why? Because according to the Owaspy, We already got faced with a false god thousands of years prior to what the other part of the world got faced with. So we still owed it. There was a false god named Itura, who tried to play like he was the Al Mazda, which was the one who taught Zarathustra, who showed everyone that basically, who showed our people, our ancestors and shit, like, well, we're lights that we continue to live for forever. That's what we naturally are. We're just in a corporeal form, a physical body and shit. And his story is basically parallels that of the Jesus story, which is from the false god Luamang, which is from the Moor niggas. That's the name, them the Moors, false god Lu, because they got all their stories from our shit. Most I laid the shit down first on every world how it's supposed to happen, and the false gods come in. He warns all, most I warns all the true gods of what's going on. This is what might happen. So in your heavens and shit, millions and millions of angels might go down to the earth. They might want to rule mortals and shit. But you got to keep the ones up in high grade with you and protect the ones that are chosen on the earth, the chosen mortals that's going to birth to certain prophets and to certain nations later on down the line and shit like that. And that's what happened to us and shit. That's why we preserve. That's why the book was able to be written. That's why they try to abrogate it and turn it around. You know, false Christ, Lil Mang and shit, them niggas cold. That nigga was cold, but he wasn't as smart as Jabril, who's right-hand man. His right-hand man is the one who came up with Christianity. I mean, I got this tone coming up to me. They gonna draw up to me and shit. But anyways, you know, it came up with Christianity, you know, and stuff like that. Well, Jabril, the right-hand man, the one who drew the sword for Luamang. And then Luamang didn't give him his heavenly kingdom, according to the Waspi and shit. So, you know, Jabril was like already had his homies, like, nigga, they was already down for him anyways. It was like, because they know what he was about. So he was like, yo, I'm gonna go ahead and find my prophet, which is, you know, I'm gonna sample the thinkings and send my prophet seers is to sample the thinking of the people and make a prophet, which is Muhammad. And he gave him the Quran. But he already came up with the Bible, the way the Bible was. You see the butterfly, white butterfly? He already came up with he abrogated the Bible to where it was at, until how it was. So he already knew how to write the Quran. He came up with the language for the Bible, which was, you know, an offshoot of a Syriac language stock, dealing with the Aramaic, which produced Arabic. Arabic is what, you know, Jabril basically gave to Muhammadan. And this don't sound like it's off, because if you know the story, you see this lining right on up. You know what I'm saying? So he already came up with this shit, and he did this shit with the sword, same way. You know what I'm saying? Did this shit with the sword. Let's see what time it was. He did this shit with the sword, and that's how they were so, that's how they won all them battles and shit. And he incorporated the stories prior, like the Israelite stories and all that shit, prior to, and added into his shit. Instead, he just didn't say that the Messiah got killed or whatnot, you know, or Jesus or whatever you want to call it, or Isa. That's the only thing he didn't say. And he changed that part, one of the only things. You know, and then they came up with the Hadith and all of that, you know what I mean? So that's why a lot of the Muslims follow the Hadith to this day. You know, even though they have the Sunni and which is the Orthodox and Shiites and all that stuff. You know what I mean? That ain't got nothing to do with us. That's the Moor niggas, man. Once again, creating them killing ass motherfuckers, man. It's a movie that, what's his name, came out. He was a Moor in this movie. What's that dude's name? Sidney Poitier. Man, he had them the Caucasians come down there with him, and he was showing them what Morocco was about. And they was asking them, hey, what's happening? Hey, Wilkins, man, how you doing? And it was asking him, they was just, you know, seeing how he ran his kingdom. And he was showing he had like 1,000 motherfuckers out there, and he had this big giant sword that was like a slide, but it was a sword. And he was telling the motherfuckers like, yo, man, when you want to see true power, this is what true power. And he's got the motherfucker up there on the thing, told him to slide down the sword. This is a Moor, man. Telling him, and they got up there without hesitating to slid his ass down the fucking thigh. Thinking about it, was like, and the white man was sitting there like, damn, like that's some power. And he's like, yeah, and that's what you're gonna be doing. You basically work for me and shit. And that nigga was hard, boy. He was a killer, man. It was Sidney Poitier. I forgot what the name of that movie was. I gotta Google that. But that man was cold in that movie, man. You never see Sidney Poitier act like that. You always seen him nice and gullible. You know, he's a Haitian and shit. He had a treaty and shit, you know what I mean? We didn't have no treaties like that, but we had contracts. That's what we had, contracts. And, you know, motherfuckers wanted to take your family out for, you know, being in the entertainment, something that you naturally do. You had to go through all that type of stuff. But that's how we different, you know what I mean? That's why I'm like, you know, with the false Christs and false gods over there in the other lands, that's how we're different on our land. We went through a little bit more on our land. Pardon me, I had to get that flip phone filled out. But we went through it. That's what we're different. You know, we live right up under. That's fast forward all the way to the straw mans of the so-called European. It's not really European, but you know, because European is the Brits. You know, that's really them niggas and shit. You know, and the WASPy damn near begs for them to come over to America. People got to peep that. You can't fall victim to these new books and shit. And even though some people do, and the book tell you, don't fall victim for my book now, because you got to test this. And it's like, you got to understand, they really pubbing, you know, Jehovah, like the Jehovah Witnesses and all that shit. And we ain't had no way we don't have to change the name. We know it's the Great Breath. You know, we're dealing with Hawa, the Great Secure Breath. Pretty much until otherwise now, you know what I mean? Even though we had Egoquin and all that stuff, but they came in and they abrogated and made fake languages of the true Native Americans and shit, you know what I mean? So we had to give them all their shit back. So either way it goes, man, these people, they already knew. So they abrogated a lot of things, man. And I know I got off a little bit, but I was gonna say something else about you know, our heavens is the shit. That's all day long. And we already oh yeah, I'm gonna jump right back into it. The reason why ain't no false savior is going to be on our land, because once we got over the first one, when Hiawatha came and brought all the nations together. That's also according to WASPy and a lot of other Native American folklore. You could you know, put that together, and basically came up with the Algonquin, which is the whole unity and shit. And Hiawatha was like he was cold. He was a cold nigga. They say this nigga came out. The sea of he was down there by the Sea of Sociopan, which is the Gulf of Mexico. That's a sacred water for us. We're gonna have meetings down there. They don't want us by that water. We kind of almost, and I know every nigga feel this too. Like we almost feel like we can't go by it or something. Like you can see it from the Mexico side if you go to Meridian or Cancun or something, but you stay on the countryside where the Mississippi, the Louisiana, all that water is like some holy waters. And all kind of life up in that motherfucker, chief. And so anyways, though, instead of Hiawatha, you know, basically talk to the maker of all worlds, which is Geechee. And you hear the word Geechee in our culture a lot. You got the Geechee eyes. But yeah, told him a lot of things. And came up with the names of all the tribes. And now it's deep, because man, my son told me the name when he was only two weeks old. Ungwi. And as I got older, I just kept that as a mental what you call it. I mean, we went through a lot of shit when my son was born and shit, so we had to remember motherfuckers. But he said Ungi right after he was able to cut the umbilical cord. And when he said Ungi, he kept saying Ungi. And I was like, what is he saying? He's not saying hungry, because I used to always say, my baby hungry. But he wasn't saying, I said it when he was in the belly. But he was like, Ungi. Then he started rolling his tongue, Ungi. And I was like, damn. So when I got later on down the line, that's the mental book check right there. Like, that came back up. Ungi is the name of the Native American tribe who was able to hear the voice of the Creator, the Most High, or Geechee, they say. And so, and now that makes you kind of look at what Ungi mean, or Ungui, or whatever. You know what I mean? The voice of the Creator, the actual language that can hear the voice, the actual voice. So I know people are like, you can't hear the voice of the, but we was always connected. We can hear our ancestors. We can talk to our ancestors. We that connected, G. But they knew that we was that connected. That's why they poisoned us. You know, made us eat the wrong food. That's why we could take the NOI's lessons like that. You know what I'm saying? Made him other than his own self. His own self is a righteous Muslim. But take the Muslim out, even though Muslim is one who submits to the will of the Most High. The Muslim is like the body. It can be, but at the same time, the Most High. We're gonna go with the Most High. You know, the ones makes him other than his own self, which is the righteous God, basically, you know, which is a child of the Most High. That's why we call each other brother and sister, because we're brothers and sisters. We children of the Most High. Once we graduate in our etheric form, boom, we are in Star Trek mode and shit, in the worlds, in the planes, doing what's about to happen here and shit. Doing what's about to happen here. These niggas done already, it's our ancestors that already lived on our earth at a time they done already did their little hundreds of years in atmosphere, and they got off of the earth plane and went into Etheria already and traveled worlds, and they on their way back. It's a story in Etheria that Moses had to come back to earth after like 1,500 years and shit. Had to set the Pharaoh free because he was in misery, and she put a curse on Pharaoh, and he wasn't supposed to do that basically, and only he could break that curse, so he had to come back. He was found in one of the heavens and shit, just chilling doing. There's so many heavens, and you're like, there's so many worlds, man. There's so many. When you dream, if you at your higher state of dreaming, you can hit all them worlds. You're actually looking for the world you're gonna go to and shit. But when you're in a low state, these motherfuckers, they want to keep you down here, like the false god, like these false more niggas and shit, want to keep you with the false Christs and false gods, much as they fucking possibly can, even though these niggas is already caught. They want to keep us with I'm talking about the Anu. That's what I was gonna talk about, the Anunnaki. Yeah, nigga, they was sliding that. Thank you, man. Because they always bring them niggas up, man. Because there was a book that was written called by Zachariah Zitcher, breaking down the Anunnaki. It was like 13 books. But Malachi York, he wrote some books on that shit too. But it was after the fact that Zachariah Sitchin already produced like a 13-book series and shit. So he just seen the shit and kind of changed it up a little bit and added in like, nigga, did we the Anunnaki or he the Anunnaki and shit? These niggas from Planet Risk, and you know, he only in their world, they only got the atmosphere that they're connected to their the Denier, which is their angels and shit that teach them. And it's like, nigga, the WASP says that, but how come the earth don't do the same thing? Like, how come the earth don't have the atmosphere that holds that houses the angels and the kingdoms and shit of heavens, the heavenly kingdoms up in there? Well, only your world do it? And it's like, the false prophets, man, you gotta pay attention, and he came as a Moor. He had a book called Set the Record Straight with the Moors and shit. And he was on that shit again, man. You know what I'm saying? That Anu shit. And it's like, I understand, but it's like Anu Hassaj was like one of the dudes. It's like he one of the ones who created the false kingdoms that first created the world in 7 days type shit. You know? And that's according to a Waspi. He roamed, supposedly he roamed the earth for 7,000 years. You know, we can't look at the earth as a Copernicus model either, like this little 196,940,000 square mile ball, you know what I mean? They got us to believe that we live on this surface and there's nothing on the inside, you know what I mean? Whatever. It's all kind of shit. They introduced the inner earth, but we already know it's a plane, you know, so we know what's up. So anyhow, though, you know, so with Anu Hassaj, yeah, man, that dude came in, he's the Anunnaki. Malachi York shows all the lineage. Ninher Shag, all these motherfuckers. Thank you for the lightning, huh? Ninher Shag, all them niggas, man. Everybody, man. So it was all linked to the Sumerian. He linking himself to the Sumerians and all of this shit. The Anunnaki, dog. You know what I mean? And it's like, with this book that's out now that's talking about the Anunnaki, they came from a desolate world, supposedly. Like a world that don't got shit on it. And they had to team up with these other people called the custodians or whatnot, and they wanted to come and take over worlds. And shit, they came to one of these ones and shit, you know, like this type of world. But this is one of the hardest worlds to get, you know what I mean? So anyways, but that's a story about the Anunnaki with this new book called World Beyond the Poles, or The Navigator Who Crossed the Poles. I mean, and the World Beyond the Poles talk similar, but not like about that type of shit. It talks more about scientific shit, which is to get you to They got all kind of shit. That's why you can't be in their books too tough, because all that shit was stolen from you, or stolen from our libraries. Like we already know. So it's like, we got to go into this library, really, because there ain't no other way. Because they already, we have to use our discernment basically to be able to pinpoint which information is what. You know, because a lot of things is coming out. It's a war. It's an information war. A lot of corporations is leaking information to the niggas and shit so they can do something. They want to see what's gonna happen too. They say if we give this certain amount of information, then I want to see if the nigga gonna turn into a mutant. Nigga, they want to see too. You know what I mean? Just like a nigga like they say Puffy wanted to see if Tupac was gonna get shot and shit. Like, nigga, he wanted to stay there at the studio. That's what they said. So like, motherfuckers want to see. You know, because money can't change you all the way right here. Only the spirit can. And they just want to know how we gonna do it. They just like, that's the only thing they want to know. Is like, we know they're gonna do it. We just want to know how. Because once the how hits, names and none of that shit gonna matter. But the how is celibacy. Celibacy, people, we're already on our diet because we know that, you know, according to the lessons of the 1 through 36 with the, or Nasu Understanding Equality, which is dealing with the NOI, the Nation of God's on Earth, the 5% lessons. It's dealing with, like, why does he fear the devil that he's a grown man? He feared the devil because he's a grown man because the devil put fear in him when he was a boy, talking about niggas and shit, right? How did he do that? He taught him how to eat the wrong foods. The wrong foods, they say, made him other than his own self. What is his own self? His own self is a righteous God. So if he was eating the wrong foods, and they ain't say God, we say God and shit. If he was on one saying God, they was saying Muslim. They was scared to call themselves gods and shit. But we already knew and understand. Oh, I got some gang stalkers. They walking slow up in the motherfucker to me, and I'm gonna turn it back around. But yeah, you know, so that makes us up other than the righteous God. So basically, eating the wrong foods, man, giving all these parasites. The Moors knew that shit. They know if they give you all these fucked up, they slide you something nice at first, but then they hurry up and change up the ingredients, and before you know it, you're eating the wrong ingredients and shit. You got monosodium glutamate, polysodium 60, polysodium 80. You know what I'm saying? You got all this kind of stuff that's in you and shit, that's hurting you, that's pretty much giving you all these goddamn parasites that'll make you, you know, kind of mess with your dream state. And that's dealing with your dream state, which is dealing with your DMT molecule. They know this about us because that's why they try to keep you from really, you know, being highly spiritual at this point in this time. Is, you know, because we had to put it together as a physical point, you know, to show and prove who he is physically. But now we back into the spirit game. So they don't want you to know who you is spiritually. And spiritually, that DMT molecule is very important. This is why these motherfuckers are always talking about, hey man, I got the DMT. I got it. These motherfuckers can't sleep. Their dream state is earthbound, which is like, man, they seeing all the parasitic entities on a microscopic level at a life-size level and shit. Afraid, scared as a motherfucker to go to sleep at night. Getting chased and ran and can't fly, can't run. All that shit in their dream, man. That's gonna be their forever state. And for us to raise it past that state, what we have to do is, of course, I know it sounds religious, repent. Because they didn't know how we repent. We can just say, we can say this in the blood of Christ and Jesus and all that shit. That's Luamong and shit. False Christ, the more niggas, man. They want you to do it like that. They say, all you gotta do is just say it, nigga. We got you. All I gotta do is say it. Yeah, that's it, nigga. Nah, nigga. Most of they ain't make it that easy. Nigga, you gotta sacrifice something, man. That Kundalini, that sexual energy. If you already tapped into the tree of life, you gotta pay your tithes. Pay your fare every month too. And you like paying your fare too, man. It's all good because you get the gifts. Every time the light goes up, Most High give you a gift, spiritually, mentally. You know, the ability to overcome something. You know what I'm saying? That's something that's like weak within you. They'll give you that gift, G, every month. But every time, if you squander that shit away, you won't get the gift. You'll get continuous gifts. Whatever you want, you ask for, it'll come. It'll be right there, damn near, almost like magic and shit, like abracadabra. Nah, but it happens though, I'm telling you, man. I don't even want to say I'm telling you. That's because when the light gets to circulating through your pineal, or they'll tell you, but these people ain't doing it. They only like at 30 days, man. We already, Big Bro got us up there, man. I had to look over there. Big Bro got us up there. Our big bro God, the Most High, and the Father, you know what I'm saying? The all spirit also, I'll call that the Father, but Big Bro, which is God, you know, the higher spirit, also got us up there at 7, damn, going on 7 years. So that's kind of like a sneak, because they don't want them niggas, they ain't want you to know that niggas can go damn near 7 years and shit, you know what I mean? You can't even imagine going a year, but even a year make you strong as hell. That's what I'm saying. You ain't got to be 7 years. Ain't worried about catching up. Just get this year under your belt. Oh man. You get 3 months on your belt, you ain't gonna wanna let one go. You let one go, I gotta get my month back. Fuck that. You know what I'm saying? I gotta get my lick back. You gonna get to that point, then you start back again. It's like, okay, then it's continuously climbing up. These entities can see that shit. When we get to a certain point, this thing goes, I don't wanna say this thing. It's a beacon. It's a signal that goes off to our Ethereum ancestors and shit to let them know that we ready, man. But this is what we gotta do. That's why they like, I know, that's why they watching, because they don't want us to figure this part out. They want us always in this I came with the fruit stuff too. I talked about it, but the fruit people, they didn't add this part in there. They don't know how to add this part because it's not made for them. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna hear them talking about the kidney filtration and stuff like that. But the things we're adding in, Most High gave us the right recipe on what we got to do without making it seem so goddamn complicated and shit. Love is goddamn. And we got the mounds up there. I got to show the mounds one more time, man. Just to show you that this is rare. They'll tell you it's rare. Let me zoom it in. Them is mound. That's a mound over there. It's the gang of them, about 70 up there and shit. Big as hell, man. We wouldn't even know that. We wouldn't even know. So that means somebody had an elaborate burial ceremony up there. I got the butterflies going around, boy. It's run its own, man. So, you know, so with the false Christ and all them, the Anu Hassaj, you know, the Malachi York, and they all keep trying to get us to be with they shit. It's like, hold up, man. we're not gonna argue with you. We're not gonna argue with you. You belong over there with them niggas, man. Cause you keep trying too hard. Malachi had to reveal that there was a book, and it was a book we already knew about this. It was called The Return of the Ancient Ones, written by Empress Versity. You know, and she was basically the empress of the Washita Nation. You know, and a lot of Moors was against that. Like, oh, you want to believe in that fairy tale and da 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 da. But it's like something true. There's something true in this motherfucker. I got Poverty Point on my shoulder. I already know, from Louisiana with the Olmec head, man. They got Olmec heads down in Florida right now in Fort Lauderdale and shit. You know what I mean? It's like, nigga, we was already in this month, but it was an amnesia, a big spirit thing that happened, because, you know, Muslims were allowed to bring their little familiar spirits over with them on the boats. These spirits didn't want to even cross the ocean. They was afraid to cross that water. The mortals couldn't cross it, so they had their spirits had to get a little bit more evolved to cross that water with them. Hence, when they was able to cross that water, because they had the maps, they had fear. And then boom, now they came. Now the planes hit. Now the familiar spirits is coming across with the so-called African brothers, and, you know, doing the spell works, doing the spells, and, you know, your so-called, we're naturally called priests and rabbis. You know what I'm saying? That's how we grew. But, you know, and they took advantage of their priests and rabbis. You know, they've been infiltrated by false lords and false prophets. You know, false spirits. I mean, they have spirits, but false holy ones who come and try to, you know, molest these spirits in Africa. They do that a lot, but a lot of those spirits, a lot of those tribes are protected. They go to Most High with the butterfly. You know what I'm saying? A lot of those tribes are protected, like, spiritually. That's why them mugs don't get touched. You know, it's not just like by paperwork. You know, them Africans don't give a fuck about no paperwork. They don't care about none of them papers. See? You know, so it's just that them spirit, their tribe is protected and preserved, meaning that they're kind of connected, at least to a higher frequency level with their ancestors than the other ones. The other ones use any spirit as a tool of manipulation for them to get shit done. You know, they're just savages in pursuit of happiness, and when they come to America, they're just a savage in pursuit of happiness, and that just showed by certain, as a whole. Now, not all the Somalians and shit, but as a whole though, how they came over, and they was peace at first, but then they got manipulated, and then we can see who manipulated them, and people who knows that. I'm not going to mention too much about that, but that's all dealing with, you know, dealing with falseness. You know what I'm saying? Falseness, and that ain't gonna stand on the land, because we already done paid the dues, man. People done already died and lived on our land. We done already died and lived. They in our cemeteries, man. You know what I mean? They got big ass war cemetery. They got big ass Arlington cemeteries, Fort Snelling cemeteries, man, full of fucking soldiers and their remains and shit. You know what they do on the first resurrection? These soldiers, they just terrify motherfuckers, because they living in a state of war. You know, not war, but we see that war, battling decisions and making a decision, that happens naturally. But I'm talking about wars and gunfighting, battling and shit like that. So they're constantly in this shit. And they got these things built around our mounds on purpose to war with our ancestors. That's what they was on. Especially at Fort Snelling. And I know, I've been through Fort Snelling. That's at the top of the Nile of the West, which is Mississippi, man. It's right up there on the Mississippi River. Fort Snelling is one of the biggest, man. One of the biggest bases. You know what I'm saying? So anyhow, though, and they got a big. I know a few people buried up in there. So this let's let you know that. I'm about to wrap it up. Let me see what time I am. Yep, almost at that point. So that's to let you know. We don't. Reason why that false Christ, the only one that's lasting is Lou amongst Jesus person, and that shit's already getting destroyed, because you got Russia, which is hellist, and according to the OFFGRID, their false god and shit, basically that was ruling them, is allowing them to reveal the real identity of so-called Isa, Jesus, or whatever they want to say. You know what I'm saying? To us, because it's like, nigga, you don't need to be worshiping none of these motherfuckers. Really, nigga, you connected to a higher calling. Like, you don't have nothing to do with these people, man. It's further showing us to divide even more, and that to get in tune to our cycles. You know what I'm saying? Kind of look at our cycles and how we were infiltrated on our holy lands, because we ain't got nothing but temples on our land. Nothing but temples. They've turned them into their churches. You know, Lou among his little false peoples turn them into their little churches, but those are our temples. We had high toning vices, high tuning forks to tune the ethers, man, to keep the city in tune. Man, niggas is advanced, dog. Hella advanced, dude. Hella advanced. And I got more to build about on that one. But yeah, so this is what makes us different, man. We ain't from Africa. So that false god shit came from over there. We already had our shit. It was chiefs and rabbis, basically. You know what I'm saying? Adonises, you know what I mean? We already had our language. We already had the language. We had a dialect as far as like a reading language. You know, that Syretic language stock when you're dealing with, you know, the Arabic and the Aramaic and all that. You know what I'm saying? These are reading languages and shit. You don't speak Arabic. You speak Tajweed or something, some shit like that. You don't speak the fucking Arabic. Arabic is letters, and it shows you how to, when you pronounce every letter, it shows you how to read the Quran. Like alif, ba, ta, da, shin, he, ho, da, tha, all the way around. So when you see those letters together, you can just put them together. Ah, la, you know what I'm saying? Or alif, you know, whatever, you put it together, and you can sound it out yourself, and that's how you read it. And every letter has a meaning, just like in the Hebrew. Same difference, because Jabril helped come up with, you know, a lot of shit. You know, he didn't make Hebrew up, but he came up with the dialect. You know, that's why you got different forms of Hebrew too, like the Paleo and all of that. You know what I'm saying? But out here you got the same shit too, but it's in stone. You know, with the man and shit and all that. You got that out here too. This is a lot of Hebraic words out here too, like the ha's, the breath. You know, aloha, all that shit. My name out here is Kalani. Look that up. But anyways, though, I love y'all. And I'm about to get hop up off here, and I'm gonna build on out here another time. You know what I mean? Because they got a lot of significance too. That's going on. But we're just gonna chop it up with us, with our own, about as far as like, you know, the foundational American. I don't like to say black too tough, man, because they love to try to trick us. But I say black because it's the essence. But at the same time, the true American, the copper-colored NAGA, the Choctaw, and I'm a Choctaw. So when they want to ask, like, man, we already know I'm Choctaw. You know what I'm saying? We down here. I live down in Tuvalu, Mississippi, man. It ain't nothing but niggas. Shit. It ain't nothing but niggas. Well, I'm coming dirt roads that I don't even think that shit. The satellite just now finna find some stuff down there now. You know what I'm saying? We riding on the back of the dirt roads. It's so damn dark, man. You can't see nothing. Can't even see your hand. The horse, you can't even see the horse in front of you and shit. Like, the horse be right there. My granddad was telling me the story that happened to get a chance to be out there and shit. In the back, when we buried him, and I just had some friends, you know, we could go way out there, go way out in Madison and Mississippi and stuff like that. And man, I had a horse out there, big ass baby. His name was Baby. Man, dark as hell, man. Big ass, she's just there. Baby was so sweet. Yeah, that's what it's on. We do different things, man. We do trail rides and shit like that. We did all that. We did rodeo. We're not Africans, y'all. The Africans wouldn't have came over to America and learned that shit. Y'all would have been riding the zebras like that or something. It's some little Africans that can ride the zebra, I'm pretty sure. I've seen zebras get ridden, but a road or whatever you want to call it, man. But yeah, it's a lot of things about our land that Africans don't really know about, you know. And even with the camel situation, we had camels. I think camels got took from our shit. I'm gonna have to really study that, because I'm just mentioning it out there because that's just got the download. I'm like, it gotta be, because shit, that's our shit. You know what I'm saying? a lot of that is us, man. That 33rd parallel stuff is us, man. We was the foundation. So that being said, I love y'all. Thanks for joining in, you know. And we just wanted to draw a line in the sand to not get us confused with someone that was taken from another place. Rather, we were taken from our place to go to the Caribbean and Caribbean back up. We're just we're the mixture of people. We're the ones that's not gonna be bickering too much. And then when we come together, then it's like, okay, they realize that we the big brother and Africa's not the big bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I gotta fuck with them, man. Big bro's American niggas, man. You know what I'm saying? It's them. Their culture just keeps evolving. There's always something new. And we know that because we grew up with something new all the time. You know, so whether it's a new word, a new style, a new way of talk, a new way of what, man, we don't even talk like how we talked back in the 70s. In the 70s, turkey, nigga, because we evolved. We don't even talk like how we talked in the 90s. And I'm just saying, we talk different. Our shit, now that we're all connected, the land has connected us now, as far as like with our entertainment, we're back creating hella, damn near infinite amounts of things we can create now. You know what I'm saying? That's why we don't need Hollywood and shit like that in this season right now. We have our own shit now. we had ownership before, but it was owned by other motherfuckers and shit. But now we have the opportunity to build our own and do our own and create our own and do good things, man. That's all. And show the differences and shit. That being said, then we can link up, and then the Africans will show us little things, and we'll be happy to build and extend that across that tile stick together once again. You know what I mean? But they got some refining to do on their shit. You know, we got refining to do on ours. And so this is only right for us to be able to separate at this time. It's kind of like having a woman says, man, it ain't right for us right now to connect, man. What you mean it ain't right? I love you. No, we gotta quit. See, I told you, woman. I say, I told you we ain't ready. I told you. No, so yeah. Hey, oh, that's, hey, now. I was born in Jackson, Mississippi, right? You say on Elm Street. I'm like the Freddy to these motherfuckers, to these white folks, man. I'm in their dreams now and then. They took my house down too. But yeah, I love, man, and we're gonna do a lot more. Y'all gonna keep me on here, man. I'm telling you, y'all gonna keep me on. I'm like, we're gonna connect as far as I got some things to say. Most of took me out of Mississippi to bring me up around the world. I had to move up to Memphis, to Chicago, to Minnesota, to where all that's happening now. All that's gearing around my life and shit is the Minnesota shit, the George Floyd. That's my old block in the hood. A lot of my people from Mississippi had that hood over there. It was blood hood and shit, you know what I'm saying? But it was like a lot of families that was from, you know, the South and stuff. And we were one of them. And, you know, trying to go north and trying to find a better life. But it was the most hooded shit you could possibly ever do. Because it's like, damn, you know what I mean? But anyway, so, you know, and then took me around and had me around with other nationalities and, you know, natives and certain natives, you know what I'm talking about, the Chippeways, and, you know what I'm saying? My experiences, you know, and the Laotians, the Vietnamese, you know, I've seen all of them, man, up close, and they seen how black folks is, and they kind of take a liking to us too. But yeah, we're gonna build up on that too. But it's a Mississippian's point of view to be able to see that, because they don't really see they'll never see Mississippi people, because we don't be wanting to leave. We kind of like, man, I'm gonna stay in Mississippi, and I can't wait to be back and be in Mississippi, man, because I already know it's the vibe anyways and shit. Even though, you know, we're the most wildest, and every time I always love it. I wanted to tell everybody about it, but it's coming around that time. It's very holy too. It's very holy, a very holy place. Man, Most High wanted me to start off right down there. I wanted me to start. I started playing in mud. My first anything I ever built was a mound on the ground with mud. I had a friend named Maggie, and I want to find her, because I know she wondered what the hell happened to me. We left in the middle of the night too. I had to learn all this to come back. Look, damn, okay, this is what happened. You know what I'm saying? I was fortunate enough to have a granddaddy too. And my granddaddy helped me out. I knew before you said it. He said, talk about being the frugivore, damn it. Hey, and in Mississippi, because we didn't even eat that. I remember my granddad, I was with my granddad a lot. He the one that raised me. My dad was a hood nigga and shit. My mama, they had to live their life. So they lived their life hard first before the new hard niggas had to live their life. So my granddad was the one that looked at me, because I had my grandma, they died in the same year I was born. So I looked at that as a sacrifice. And then I was like, so my granddad was like, he the one that showed me how to cook and do all that good stuff. But we didn't eat meat when I was little. Really, at the beginning, in Mississippi, that much. My granddad I didn't even eat bacon. He didn't want to feed me bacon. He only fed me red beans, rice, cornbread, cooked out of cast iron skillet. It was good too, man. I say like the butter was still in the middle of that motherfucker. I mean, I used to eat that shit all. I was thick. But yeah, biscuits straight from scratch. My granddad cooked real good. And I ate eggs. And we had a garden in the back, and all of us, everybody had 2 rows, and the rows were so long, the dirt was so black, you could smell the dirt. Like, it was just, oh man, you smell everything down there, man. As soon as the sun hit it, you can smell your skin. I don't smell nothing like that here, man. I smell something like that in Florida a little bit, but in Mississippi was the only place. And we had the lightning bugs. I know they're not around too tough no more, but when I was little, it was out a lot. At nighttime, the lightning bugs come out. We'd be in the back and all, you know, learn how to fish. We eating them 1,000-bone-ass fish and shit. I learned how to fish when I was like 3.5, 4 years old. Going to the reservoir. I was damn near older than all the kids, even though I was the littlest one. I was able to walk the neighborhood by myself in Mississippi. Like, the whole neighborhood, walk all the way up Jackson Zoo damn near, man. I'm like 5 years old, 5, 6 years old. I already know how to take a shot of whiskey. I already know how to chew tobacco already. My granddad I knew how to do all that shit. But I'm thankful I ain't go to doing that. But And I had a horse, and I had to ride a horse when I was 4. Yeah, I got bucked off that mug, got right back up, got on his ass and shit. Mikey. Yeah, man. But I was like, I knew I'm going to have to come back in the future because I knew Most High sent me on. That was my peacefulest time. But then I went up to through Chicago and stuff like that, and gangs and shit like that. Everything had to change up. It was like friends murdered, getting murdered. Oh, man, it was just everything growing. And then I had to be able to want to tell the story and shit like that. And it got me to this point. I was more natural, learn how to deliver a baby and stuff like that. And I wanted to bring that to the culture, you know what I mean, on a vast level, you know. But yeah, frugivore, yeah, my granny used to take me out to Madison. I got to get the fruit because there's a whole bunch of fruit in Mississippi. There's a whole bunch of fruit trees. When I was little, all of this happened got stored to me when I was little. My golden birthday happened early in life, so I was able to get that cream quick. But he took me out to Madison with all our cousins. But they older than me. I'm talking about when I say old, my granddad and them was like 74 years older than me and shit. You know what I mean? I was like the youngest, but I always with older people all the time. You know, I never had my close friends unless I was like around them and shit. But anyways, though, took us to Madison. Long story short, they had trees they planted back when they was kids, and they was thick. Them trees was able to produce so many trees, and we'd go. There was plum trees. Shake that mug and put your shirt out. Get all the trees. Come back to Jackson, man. Have all the daggone plums and you know. But that's what everybody really eat down south: watermelon, plums, peaches. You know, we had a pear tree in the backyard and shit. I mean, that's everywhere in Mississippi. But I see that was going to be the shit as far as like growing older. That's going to be a part of like our fruitarianism is eating more. We ate more fruit. You eat more fruit anyways than you eat fish. You know what I mean? But when I got up north, you know, my dad, he was cooking, but he was a good cook, but he was cooking, you know, liver and all that shit. So I used to make it feel good by eating the liver, and that shit wasn't good because, you know, it produces parasites in you. And I could have been a schizophrenic dealing with undigested animal proteins, but Most High took care of me. That's going to be a story for that one too. You know what I mean? So I turned vegetarian by the time I turned 17, and I got knowledge of self. And I realized, okay, because you know, come from Mississippi, you know, my granddad is always telling me who he is and shit. My mama, not my grandma, my mama always said, hey, you're a CHOCTAW. We got our own graveyards and all that. And I was like, damn. So I got to go find all that now. Shit. He said, you got your plot out there too? I'm like, damn, for real, mama? I'm only like 3 and shit. I'm like, she's telling me about death right away. I'm like, oh, damn. All right. But anyway, so, yeah, so that's the main, I'm saying the shit out loud, but that's where it's at, though. We're all going to bring everybody back together. It's not a wishful thinking thing. I think it's happening. I feel it's happening. Everybody's doing it. So, you know, but yeah, when I add in the fruit, the bros, they talk about the frugivore. Yeah, it's been since, a long time. Fruitarian vegan, you know. I still eat beans and rice, you know what I'm saying? And I don't eat no cheese or no shit like that. I did eat cheese for a second and I didn't really like it. I went back to eating cheese. This is like 10 years ago, something like that. Like 10 years ago. And then it's to show that, you know, Mississippians, yeah, we could be a fruitarian. That's what I wanted to show, too. Not like to show for man, but, you know, so I tried and stuff. Like, you know. And it was like, damn, you don't eat chicken? I ain't never heard a nigga don't eat no chicken. I stopped eating chicken, like I said, 96 for sure. 96, I ain't eat that at all. So, however long ago that was, it's a long time ago, I think. It don't feel like it, though. It just feel like it's another day, I guess. But I was able to I learned how to eat once a day. Learned that from Elijah Muhammad. I just took the bits and pieces that's needed. You know what I mean? We didn't even need. I ain't had to be a follower. They should have to learn how to write like Farrar Muhammad and be a little slave of mental death and power to these people. You know what I mean? Even though you could like their style, you get caught up to their mask of looking sharp on the corner. You kind of want to be that, but I knew not to be. I just knew I had discipline in my own self, and I liked it more so. I moved with the Nation of Gods and Earth when I was young because they related more to me because we was in the streets and shit. And, you know, niggas still had guns and, you know, you can make money and you can still, you know, be you. And Most High understood that. And I was able to go with that one more. So, and they had no leader or nobody, big eye little you over somebody. And, you know what I'm saying? When niggas try to do that, I was like, oh, nah. They can't do that to me. I'm on me, man. So bros try to do that. One time, bro, talking about they were gonna take a book of life. I mean, I came over to them. I don't care who that. I came over with my book of life. I'm like, I'm flipping that mug. See, they from different states, but it's like they see me come from the street though, too, at the same time. And I'm from Mississippi, so it's like I keep had to throw that in. It's like, man, we kind of wait for you to do some shit like this. Like, I come up with my book of life, flipping my pages right next to the mother, talking about, take the book of life. My name Ruler and shit. So I'm talking about they gonna take Ruler's book of life or something like, huh? You ain't put no pages in this. I'm coming right there. I like to see you. I like to see you. And plus, I got it on cap. I got what I had on cap. You know, I used to have classes like, you know what I'm saying? Really did these classes. You know what I mean? That's when guys came to where we was at. Some guys were a little bit, you know, on that big out little you, they was kind of mad at that shit. And it's like, we ain't got time for this, man. You know what I'm saying? We got these kids. I learned, brothers started having babies at home when they seen it. I had my son at home. I mean, my daughter at home, and they seen my son had in front of the devil and shit. Right in front of him, the devil. I had a lotus birth. I didn't even know what the lotus birth was. Most likely just gave it to me. I broke it down and I found that out later, after the fact. That just shows what wisdom knowledge is, you know what I mean? But I was willing to go through the hell to come out right. There wasn't no NOI there. And they said they was gonna be there. Had they have some of their wives to be the nurse to say I can leave the hospital. There was nobody there. I had to go with on my own faith, G. You know what I'm saying? To get protected to get up out that mother. And then they sheriffs tried to chase me because they weren't even ready for that shit. But now they ready for it. That's why they had people's shit taking babies and shit. And now they ready for it, but they wasn't ready for it before. Because I was one of the first. You know what I'm saying? One of the first. I know they keep tabs now. They know what I'm talking about now. It's like, now I want to know what this nigga talking about now. Peace, audacity, what's happening? You know, they already keeping tabs on. They keeping tabs on my son and shit. My son didn't even cry at birth. I named him Allah in front of him, so that I know that hurt Lil Mom. You know what I mean? The false god Lil Mom, false Christ Lil Mom, because I named my baby Allah and right in front of their face. Shit, they couldn't even say his name. They're like, Allah. They were like, oh, baby Allah. And my son turned around and said, oh, he's not crying. He turned around and said, ah. He looked that back at me. I was like, this is the same baby I told you. They said 2 weeks later, it says, oh, same little nigga. Like, nobody didn't even help us, man. My own mama kicked us out of the house when I came over. We had to leave the hospital in 7 hours, man. They tried to give me a signed contract from people from Russia, doctors from Russia, nobody from my land. No NOI at the door helping me, and they know I know all the lessons we having. I didn't have. I hired security for shows. I didn't know all these niggas, man. Ain't none of them niggas show up, man. So right there in the middle of the night when my baby was born, I said, you know what? Nah. Shit. The next day, I got even more sharper and I had the babies at home. That's all other brothers. This is how I had the baby out. You know, check in for the report, turn the head, boom, put the baby out. You know, get better at it. You know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, we got our own little fleet. And that's what we had now. So I stuck to it. That was the difference between me and them, and me and my friends and stuff, because, or not friends, because a lot of my friends died. That's what all the guys seen. When I got all this stuff, like all my friends was dead, or they was locked up, like really, like real friends. I didn't have friends to talk to, like, what's up, man? I ain't seen you in so long. Like, I see my friends, like certain associates that had knowledge and stuff, and they were still cool with their friends and shit. And I see them later on. I was like that nigga that got knowledge and stuff, and like all my friends, like a couple of them, was like around, and they were kind of almost fucked up. You know what I'm saying? And one of them, I had to wait for him to get out of prison to do music and shit. You know, shit wasn't right. It was just a lot of shit, man. One of my cousins, he just got out after 25 years. He was sentenced to 99 years, 99 months, and 99 days. He just got out, man. He's still sharp in the motherfucker. He didn't even go in for that. He went in for it just goes to show you. This is in Minnesota too. But yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, a lot of things. So it's a lot of reasons I think most High preserved me from Mississippi to come up here. And a lot of my friends too were from the South in Minnesota. Nobody went from Minnesota. Everybody up from there was from somebody else, was from somewhere else, like from the South, Oklahoma, Arkansas. So it was a whole bunch of different melting pot of niggas in one place. So we had to adjust to our tempers up there. So, you know, but the police, they really attacked us. So with gang violence up there was different though. It was like vice lords and shit. You know what I mean? Everything was at school. It was serious. Okay, it's not like, all right, nigga. I love y'all, man. But yeah, man. Yeah, we just different from them folks. We from, you know, telling them we from Mississippi, man. We didn't get up the boat, man. You know what I'm saying? We didn't get up the boat. You know, so some of us may did, but not too many, G. I mean, not too many. So, and I learned that by going up, by just growing up and just learning shit, you know what I mean? And I see that, and that just putting this false god stuff together for sure just lets us further know. Like, nigga, we already had our own. And there's a lot of brothers that Most High got his hand on our supernatural philosophers that's out here, that's on the whoop, that's putting in hella work, that the WASP said they was gonna do it. Like, the WASP even said, even the WASP said, don't even believe in the whole book. And also at the same time, Most High even said in through the WASP, like, yo, I'm gonna make my babies is gonna put the shit out, and it's gonna crush all the ancient philosophers who came with their shit, whatever. It's gonna crush all that shit. It's gonna be undeniable truth of the Most High existence, and that his favor upon his chosen people of Gautama. Of Gautama, and anyone that was taken out of Gautama is gonna have this call to come back to Gautama, which is America, like where the land of the chosen or the promised land. They're gonna have this call whether they're wherever part of the world that they in, and it's gonna prove the Most High's power upon the world when he place niggas back in authority and shit. Cause it's only right. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I love y'all, man. I'm finna jump up off here and go ready to charge this device up. But yeah, get your fruits, berries, and your melons in. This is the year of celibacy. Tame that inner dragon. We're taming the dragon because we the only ones that can do it. That's why we niggas. You know what I'm saying? That's why we get mad when somebody else calling. They say, you ain't a nigga because you ain't put in the work to get the light to the crown, nigga. That's work, nigga. We know you ain't no nigga, so we know niggas put in the work and get the light to the crown and become a nigga. We already niggas, but become a real nigga. That's it. We're gonna become a real nigga. I'm gonna take a year, and I'm with it right now. So I'm already with it, but I'm with it again. It's another year, y'all. So we're gonna make it happen, G. I love y'all, and I'll be with you in the next one.